everyone. Welcome back to RTS and welcome back to Monthly Celebrations YouTube Hop. Yes, absolutely. So if you hit the show more button below, you will see a list of ladies that is participating in this Monthly Celebrations YouTube Hop. And I definitely say check out every single one in that hop because everybody scrapbooks something different. And so Monthly Celebrations is about what we celebrate during the month. And so it's like basically a seasonal thing. What do we celebrate? So for me, in the month of June, we celebrate the guy in our life, and that is my hubby. And so, of course, we have his birthday, we have Father's Day, and then if you ask him what he wants to do for both of those holidays, it's a go to a ball game. So that's what I'm going to do today in this Monthly Celebrations YouTube Hop. I'm going to do a 2-page layout, maybe with an insert, because my lovely subscriber Deborah asked me, could you do one? And I thought, yes, Deborah, I'm going to try to get in a 6x12 insert just for you. So that's what my plan is. And so we got our work cut out for us today, but this is all fun. And so I'm going to use our Krunch Kit that we built last week. And you can see, look at all these lovely colors that I have to play with. And of course, you know, June is focusing on dads a lot for the month of June. So of course, I made sure to get in some blues and some darker colors, not just pink and turquoise all the time. So I have all my supplies sitting here to my left and to my right, and that is how I scrapbook, honestly. What is to my left, to what's to my right, I slap it on what's in front of me. That's exactly what I do. So I'm going to answer a couple questions that I get on a repeated basis, but if you want to just see the finished layout, just go to the end of the line and fast forward and you'll see a finished 2-page layout, perhaps with a 6x12 insert. That's the plan. We shall see. Yes. So Deborah, thank you for the challenge to do that. I love my subscribers. I do. And I just want to say that right now. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the comments that you leave me on my videos. It means so much to me to wake up and have someone to chat with and discuss this beautiful hobby. So I really want to say thank you for that. It makes my day. Yes, makes my day, makes my week, makes my month. So thank you, ladies. I really appreciate that. So the 2 questions I get on a recurring basis is, when I am building a kit, how do you do that with no photos in mind? I have no photos planned. I have no photos printed. How do you do that? And I definitely want to talk about that again. I've talked about it before because I remember those days. I was exactly like that, and I was stuck there, and I could not figure out how you're supposed to build a kit, but yet you don't have any photos. You don't even know what topic, what event, what people. You don't know what colors anybody's wearing. You don't know where you're at. And that's because for many years we were taught to have our photos in hand and then we picked our supplies afterwards. Well, now because, you know, a lot of us have been scrapbooking a long time, and the more you take photos, the more stories you want to tell. So you have to increase this whole process. You can't spend 3 days on every page. It can't be done. Even though there's nothing wrong with that either. No, there's some days it takes 3 days to do a layout. So before I lose my train of thought and the raccoon syndrome appears its ugly head, my point I wanted to say is, with this kit, I had no idea what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to get in some darker colors just because of the monthly celebrations, and I wanted to get in the male aspect. So I definitely knew to do that. But that is what we used to do. We used to have our photos, and then we went matchy-matchy, matchy-matchy, matchy-matchy. But you don't have to do that anymore. And so that's why I like to talk about the mood and feel, because this is a kit that I built, but absolutely my photos are going to be going to a ball game. So if you go by mood and feel, as long as I have some darker colors, then I'm fine. I don't have to have exactly orange and gray and pink and green and blue, but you can see I have a lot of those colors represented. So that is how you build a kit with no photos planned. Just do a variety. And I think that's true for our entire hobby. So when you build a kit, build a variety of kits, meaning do a variety of colors, do a variety of type of, don't do just all heritage if that's not all you scrap. Don't do all pink and turquoise if you don't use pink and turquoise on every page. Don't do everything in whimsical if that's not all you scrap. Maybe do a variety. And also to do a variety of sizes of your kits. I have some kits that are small. I have some that are medium. I have some that's large. I have some that's mega. And then I have some kits that are just paper. Okay, and then I have some kits that is just by collection. So I think variety, is the spice of life, and I think variety is the key when it comes to building kits. Just have a variety, because the point I'm trying to make is that we scrap a variety of people and places and topics. So if you have kits to reflect that, then something that you always have in your stash as far as kits will match what you want to do as far as your photos. So that's what I wanted to say. So yes, honestly, just have a variety of colors and a variety of patterns. And you can see when I built this kit, and that video will be linked below, you can see I have a variety of colors. Okay, I have a variety of motifs. I have chevron, pie charts, triangles, map, and I even have specialty. There's foil, I have graph, I have plaid, and then, it's just a variety. That's it. And so that's why I can take these papers and translate them to a ball game. Okay, and so then the other thing is, since this is a theme of baseball, how am I going to incorporate that when I don't have a single baseball themed embellishment for this page? Well, the answer to that question is who says. Because this is a going to the ball game, why do I have to have a baseball? That's nice, that's fun, but do I absolutely have to have one? No. But when you're building a kit, always tell yourself, if there's something lacking in your kit, you can always go grab it when you do the page. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I have, I'm going to the ball game. So what I did was I absolutely went and pulled the 2 sticker packs that I have about baseball, and I just simply pulled them, and I will put them here to the left, and I will play with them. And so that's how you do it. So that's how you can get over that hurdle of that worry. Well, what if I don't have this, and what if I don't have that? You can always go grab it when you need it. That's how you handle that. So I suggest find something that has a multicolor group of multi-colors to start a kit, and then you'll always find something to scrapbook with. Always. Of all the kits that I have built, I have always had photos to go with the mood and feel in some form of fashion. Absolutely. Okay, so the second question is, how do you start using a kit? I get that asked a lot. And then, the other question too is that when I'm building a kit, how do I know if I'm going to do a 1-page layout or a 2-page layout? Now, if you've watched my channel for a bit, you can see I'm all over the board. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because that is how I prevent this hobby from getting old and stale for me, is that I keep spicing things up. I do a variety of things. And so when I build a kit, I have no intention of figuring out, am I going to do a 1-page layout or a 2-page layout? I just don't plan that. I don't think about it. I'm just building a kit to have fun building a kit. And so all those other things that you're thinking about, I don't have photos. This is going to be a 1-page. This is going to be a 2-page. What if it's a theme? Just throw all those questions out the window and have fun building a kit, okay? And do a variety of kits, okay? So with this kit that I built, I didn't even think about what am I going to scrapbook, and you can tell I have a lot of photos, okay? And so let's see, let's put my 4x6 in a pile, okay? And then here's my wallet. So my 4x6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what was that? I lost track already. 4, there's 7, okay? And in my wallets, there's 2, 4, 6, oh, there's another one. 2, 4, 6, 8, okay. I have 8 wallets, okay? Boy, this is a struggle here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I have 9 4x6, and what did I say? 8 wallets. Okay, that's a lot of photos. So it's going to be a 2-page, but I think I'm going to do an insert because Deborah challenged me to do one. So how am I going to do that when I don't have 2 of anything in this kit? And so that is one of those questions I get. How do you know if you're going to have what you're going to need if you need a 2-page kit or 2-page layout? And my answer is, don't worry about that, because I could always go pull another piece of paper, when I go to do this layout. But as I go forth in this hobby, I try to stop buying 2 of everything because things are getting more expensive. I can't afford 2 of this and 2 of that and 2 of this and 2 of that. So I had to tell myself, when it comes to 2-page layouts, what I do on the left, I do not have to replicate on the right. You just don't have to. And so I'm really going to show that in this start to finish, because I know that was a hurdle, and it's still a hurdle for some people. I remember being in that cycle, asking all those questions. I asked the same thing, because when it first came to building kits, I couldn't do it because I was like, nope, I have to have these in my hand and then I'll go pick my papers. Well, then when you spend 45 minutes picking papers, you're not in the mood to scrapbook. So I knew I had to change something. So building kits was the answer for me. So when I do this 2-page layout with an insert, you can see on all my papers, I do not have a single one in which I have 2 papers. Okay, so I'm going to show how to combat that. Okay, so hang on for that. And then how do I start? Okay, so if you want to hang on, let's just keep hanging out and chatting along. Yes, okay. So what I do is that I have my photos right here in front of me, and I will put all my 4x6 in one pile, and then all my wallets are in another pile, because I will probably use my 4x6 for my inspiration to get started. And so I always pick my favorite. And so my favorite, I think, is this pose here, okay? And I'll talk about photos in the second segment, because when I printed these, I didn't print with the intention of using all of these, but I'm going to do something else with them, so I'll talk about that. And then also, too, this just gives me the representation. We were at a ball game, so those are the 2 I'm going to use. I can put these to the side, okay? And so then it helps when you are picking out papers, because that's the first thing I go to is my papers. That's the first thing I do for anything is go to my papers. If you just have a couple, 1 or 2 photos sitting here to your left or to your right, that helps you pick out your papers much faster. Okay. So this was the inspiration for the kit, and I can already tell you there's something I like on this page, and it says, "You're just like your dad. You're just like your dad. You're just like your dad," okay? And because I have a picture of my 2 besties here, I'm definitely going to use that. So that is sticking. That's going to go in the yes pile. And then I have these. This is a pretty wood grain. And there's black triangles. I like that because triangles and baseball go hand in hand. I like that. Okay, I'm going to skip the pie charts. And I'm not looking at my B-sides whatsoever, because when I put this kit together, I didn't pay attention to the B-sides, okay? But you know, in our kit flip, we will. So hang on for that in a couple weeks. Turquoise, that's not working. That wood grain's nice, but I know I have another one in here that will be better. Map, no. Foil, no, but that's a good triangle. Not liking that. And this has a very luscious velour finish. To me, that's not baseball. Okay, so I'm moving on. And then this is very graphic. This would be fun, but I don't really have a lot of yellow that I'm going to focus on, so I'm skipping that. And then, of course, this orange, that would be really great for matting. Okay, but I know I have another orange. Okay, so I'm going to show you the ones that I did pick for my kit. Okay, so it is these right here. It's this red graph, which, you know, there are certain geometric shapes that just work for mood and feel. And for me, in baseball, they're always keeping track of every statistic you can imagine. I laugh when I watch a ball game with my husband. I laugh and I say, they think us as crafters that we keep track of things? Yeah, baseball guys keep track of everything. And so to me, this reminds me of baseball. Plus it's red, 2 for 1. This wood grain scoreboard. Because all these signs in the back, that's all made of wood. And then, of course, look at this. Of course, I love the color, but look at all these diamonds. That is baseball, baseball, baseball. And then, of course, this multicolor gonna work good because I have a lot of color in my photos. And, of course, that's that triangle. And then this orange stripe. Yes, so those are the 5 papers I have, along with what I have. Oh, I had this black triangle. And so I'm going to skip the black because I'm going to use this one. I don't need to have 2 triangles represented. And I'm going to use this paper right here. Now, because of this paper here, I see this as an embellishment, not a paper. So I go ahead and put this in my embellishment pile out of my paper pile. And so I have my 5 papers. So that is how quick I start. Okay. Now I've only did this video probably 86 times. So these papers I had already picked out 85 videos ago. It's just taken me a while to get it together here. So that's why I had those at the bottom. I had already picked those out in a previous video that I had to edit, and it didn't make the cut. So then the next thing I do is that I'm already thinking, as I'm pulling those papers, I'm getting a feel as to how my layout's going to turn out. And so if I'm thinking of a title, and that's exactly what happened to me as I've been playing with these papers for working on this video. The title for me that came to mind was Baseball Buddies, and that's what I'm going to do. And so I would get a piece of wax paper, And if I knew what font I wanted, okay, because sometimes when I build a kit, I only have a few alphabet choices, but here I have 3. I have no idea which one I'm going to use. I don't know. And so I'm not going to commit myself because it depends on how my papers are going to lay out. But if I already knew which one I wanted, I would go ahead and just stick that on there before I even start cutting papers. I would put that on my wax paper and just get started, okay? And so, yes, I don't wait till my papers are cut to start pulling embellishments. And another thing is, if I see something that draws my attention when I'm getting out these embellishments and I know what I'm going to work on, I put them on my wax paper. And so there was something in this embellishment box that drew my attention. Of course, you know, I'm already going to use something there. I like this blue baseball, so that, and what was this one? Yes, I like that because of the dark orange and the blue, because I have that in my papers. And so there was something else I saw in this, and it was right there. It was that star. I always think of stars, so that's landing on my wax paper. And then I had a jelly bean soup sticker sheet. And I love this because it really, really matches well. And again, when I built this kit, I had no idea I was going to do a baseball page. I really planned on doing a fish page, but this is what happened. So I like this one. It says captured. It's orange because I have a lot of orange in my photos because of where we were at the ball game. And then these stars. Look, I'm already starting to play. And so I will pull simply these off. And I saw a geotag and then this orange heart and this blue heart. And so if I see something, and I like this, that arrow there, that was fun. Oh, and this gray, yes. Okay, so what I do is if I see something that grabs my attention, I just keep putting it on, I just put it on the wax paper right off the bat. Because I think what happens is, you're already giving yourself permission to play. So then cutting your papers is not a struggle. I think that's how that works. I really do. Okay, so then what would I do from that? Oh, what did I see on here? Oh, this one said Dad Says, because, you know, it is talking about the man in my life and Father's Day and birthday. So again, I just start throwing things on a piece of wax paper. It's just fun. I love picking out embellishments. So then the next thing I do will be looking at my sketch. And so what I had planned, I printed the latest page map sketch, and I'll have that link below because these are free every single month. Love that Becky does that for us. And this 12 by 12 double page stuck out at me, but if you notice on the left, there are 2 papers of the same, and on the right, rinse and repeat. So I would have to have 2 of this and 2 of that. I don't have 2 of anything. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to combat that. And then you see how the inner part of this layout is just strips of paper, basically in a block design or a band design. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. Very, very simple, because I'm going to do a double page layout with an insert. I can't spend a lot of time on design, okay? And so when you're scrapbooking, sometimes it has to be one or the other. Sometimes you have to spend a lot of time on design and then you just use pre-made embellishments. Or sometimes you make homemade embellishments and you do a quick design. In this case, I'm going to have to do a quick design because I'm doing basically 3 layouts. A left, a right, and an insert. Yes, okay? So that is how I'm going to do that. And so then my next option, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start planning with my papers and planning with my photos. So that is how I start with a kit. But I will say, as you keep doing this and you keep working with kits, you will fall into a routine as how you start playing with a kit, and you'll find yourself doing the same steps in the same order over and over again. So for me, it's picking out my papers. If something catches my eye, if I have a title, I throw it on a piece of wax paper, and then definitely having an inspiration or Kickstarter. And for me, that is sketches. Yeah, especially when I'm doing a 2-page, I have to have some help with that. So that's why I love sketches. Yes. And don't feel bad if you're the type of scrapbooker that uses a sketch for every time you do a layout, because I will tell you, I've been scrapbooking 23 years and using a sketch is my preferred way to get started, because I'm all about recording the story. I don't care where my help and assistance comes from. I'll take it all. Yes, absolutely. And that's why sometimes we rely on pre-made embellishments, because we just don't have the energy sheet to make her own. There's nothing wrong with any of it. Yes, so give yourself some permission. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you do a page, and you don't have to be the creator of everything you use on your page. No, you don't. Okay, so that is how I'm going to start this page. Pages. Yes, so come back and I will show you my finished result with a double page with an insert going to the ball game. Pass me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Yes, so hang on, hold on. Okay, we're at the 7th inning stretch and I have this 2-page layout done. Absolutely fun to do. So I want to talk about how it turned out, and I also got an insert done per Deborah's challenge. So let's talk about that. So the first thing that I wanted to show is that I got 8 4x6 photos on this 2-page spread and this insert. Yes, 8 4x6 photos and then 4 wallets. So that is 12 photos altogether on a 2-page spread, but 8 of those was 4x6 print. Love how that happened. Absolutely. So then also too, you'll notice that on my 2-page layout, when I was talking in the previous segment, that I did not have 2 of any one paper. So how was I going to do that? And the simplest way to do that, if you're a 2-page gal, a 2-page scrapbooker, that you simply take a piece of paper and cut it in half. Yes, that's what you do, because then you can use your 6x12 here and 6x12 here, 6x12 here and 6x12 here, in whatever form or fashion. You can even cut that down and make it into 4 inches or 5 inches, but that's the easiest way to stretch a piece of paper, is simply cut it in half. I love the 6x12 size, and you may see something about 6x12 coming up in the future. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So that is what I simply did. I took this wood grain paper and I just cut it 6x12, and then also to this red graph, because I really like those 2 papers together, and I think they really made me feel like I was at a ball game. Really like that. And isn't that amazing how geometric shapes and colors just can evoke mood and feel? Yes, and I just did the same thing on the right. And then of course I love that blue diamond paper, so I just cut a strip of it and I ran it right at the seam of those 2 papers. And if you look at the back, what do I have? I have a happy horizontal, and it's so quick. Now with my happy horizontal, I did cut a 1/2 inch off and I offset it. So if I put this side by side, of course you probably can't see all of this, because, you know, I have so much going on around here. Oh, yes. Okay, so I have so many punches and stickers. So if I put this side by side, okay, you can see that my papers go to the very inner part of my spread, and then it just ends here a 1/2 inch on the border. That's exactly what I did. 1/2 inch of my background is exposed here, and a 1/2 inch is exposed here, but the papers on the inside go right into, you know, right onto the edge, and so it just looks like one continuous spread. Love how that looks. Okay, and so that is basically just a happy horizontal with an offset. Very, very simple. And you see I have some border up here at the top and some border down here at the bottom. And of course you notice lovely photo corners that I use a journaling card, and I have it laying here, that was in my kit. It was a Jelly Bean cut apart journaling card, and I took my 1-inch circle punch and I made my own photo corners, and I'll have a video linked below showing a little tutorial about that. And so I wanted a little bit of red up there. I wanted something to tie everything in. And I think what happens is when you use photo corners, and you notice they're only at the top, they're not down at the bottom, I think they act as bookends, and it kind of keeps everything contained. I really like that. And so of course you can see my title is Honkin', and it is in the vertical format, and it absolutely says Baseball Buddies, and I ran it this way, and it really makes a statement, and I really like how it looks. And I put it on the left, and I put it right here on purpose, and when I get to the insert I'll show you why that is. And so then of course I just have my 4 photos in its very, very simple manner. 2 is matted with that orange paper and 2 are overlapped, because if you notice in the previous segment, all of my 4x6 photos, which I have one floating around, they all had that white border. I did not want to cut any of that border off, so what I did was I just overlapped these photos so that I didn't have to cut anything off, because, you know, too lazy. No, I just overlapped them, and I did the same thing on the right here. I just overlapped those photos, and then of course my 2 wallets were matted with that same orange paper. And then I had a little bit of a space that I wanted to fill in, but I didn't want to add anything as far as embellishment, so I took this leftover that was up here, and I just added a little piece here and gave it a fishtail, and I just did that the same. And so that's all I did. And look what I did with the leftovers. I also made some extra ones. So those will go in my brown box. I even had some from the red. So all of those little pieces that are left over, you can simply make little embellishments with them since you already have the tools out. And this is what I use for my fishtail. I just use a hexagon punch. And so I already have 5 more to go. So that's all I did, was use a little bit of a filler there. Okay, and then of course you see there's my title with a flare on top of a sticker, and then over here my main embellishment cluster. And all I did was take some baseball themed stickers and a baseball and the year and the date and some stars, and it says happy days, but there's a use of color. And then I put a journaling block here for my journaling. Okay, and what I did was, I will show you with a journaling card. I'll just talk about that right now. It wasn't on my notes to talk about, but I'm going to do it. Okay, say you have a journaling card. Okay, this is the one we're going to use. Okay, but it's too big because this was much bigger. Okay, and it was about this size. So what you can do is take your trimmer, cut it down, and then just do your photo corner. And so you can absolutely, just because a journaling card is in this size doesn't mean it has to stay in this side. Just cut it down to what you want and then give it that rounded corner. It looks like it was made that way, because you'll see where mine says photography by. I'm absolutely going to keep that shown when I do my journaling, and that's where my journaling is going to go. But the page itself is very, very simple, but very, very fun to do. Now let me look at my notes here, because I don't even know what I said. I think I talked about everything. Yes. Okay, so then I did have that I talked about these 2 little fillers. And whenever you need something for a filler, but you don't want to add another embellishment, you don't want to add another color, you don't want to add more text, because I had a lot going on here, simply just take a piece of paper, put it in a little bit of a fishtail, or give it a little rounded corner as a tab, and use those papers, those leftover scraps, as fillers. Yes. Okay, so then the last thing I wanted to talk about was, notice I have basically a visual triangle going on because of color, but I really only have a big title and I have a big embellishment cluster on this 2-page spread. That's really all I have, because my journaling is going to go here. So sometimes when you're doing a spread, and in this case it's a double page with an insert, I wanted to make it easy on myself because I don't want to stay here for 3 days to do this. So I just made sure my title was big, 1 main embellishment cluster, and then this is where my journaling is going to go. And so those 3 elements made my visual triangle. Yes, I don't have to have a title and my journaling block and then a visual triangle. I can absolutely use my title and my journaling and my embellishment cluster and just do those 3 to make the visual triangle. Yes, isn't that something? You don't always have to have 3 embellishment clusters to get that visual triangle in. Okay, so now let's talk about the insert for a minute, because that was Deborah's challenge. And so this is my insert. And so it would simply go in my page protector, which I have it right here. And the biggest tip I want to say is, when you're doing an insert, of course 6x12 is my preferred, because it's great, especially when you have vertical 4x6 photos. It just works really, really well, and it's very simple to do. So it's going to go just like this in my page protector, and then when I flip it, that's what it's going to look like. So I got in that subtitle, just like your dad. You're just like your dad. You're just like your dad. So I love that. And I got that little baseball in there. So that was fun. Says tickets. Just love that. So Deborah, thank you for that challenge, because I got additional 4 photos on there that I wanted to use. And sometimes I forget about doing an insert. Sometimes I will just decrease the amount of photos. But if you don't want to decrease the amount of photos, an insert is absolutely a great way and a fun way to do this, because it makes your page more interactive. Okay. So the tip I wanted to say, and the tip I've learned over the years when doing an insert, is that, you just cut a piece of paper, piece of cardstock, cut it 6x12 if you're doing this size, and that's what Deborah wanted to see. So the quick tip is just to take your cardstock and cut it 6x12. But then you're going to have to trim just a little bit more, because once you start using this, and I use white or a colored cardstock so that I could use the front, and the back still looks nice. It doesn't have the texture to it, but I will still use it rather than putting 2 pieces of paper in, because it makes your insert a little too heavy. So I absolutely use the front and the back, okay? And that's what I did on this page. But you want to cut just a little bit more on one side, because if you don't, and this one isn't cut down, it's just a 6x12, you're going to have a snug fit, okay? See, that's kind of a snug fit, okay? And then once you start adding photos and embellishments, it's going to get even snugger. And then when you, snugger, that sounds like bugger. Is that even a word, snugger? Anyways, it's going to get tight, okay? And then when you go to the back and you add more photos and more embellishments, it's going to be even more of a tight fit, and perhaps you won't even get it in. So I have learned, see, that's pretty tight. So what I have learned to do before I even start putting on photos and papers and things is that I will trim probably about 1/4 of an inch, and that way I'll have some clearance, because a 6x12 insert, you know, as far as this protector, there's not much room to play with. You know, a 12x12, you have a little bit more clearance when you're putting in that page, but a 6x12, no. So I learned my mistake when I first started to do these. Even though this is a 6x12 page protector, make sure your cardstock, your foundation page, whatever you're going to use as your base, make sure it's just a hair shorter, because you're going to need that. And I will show you what mine looks like. Okay, and then also the other tip is that when you're working on a piece, you know, a 6x12 insert, and you're using the front and back, just make sure you really have everything the way you want it, because it's, you know, it's one piece of paper. I've made mistakes on that too. So I will put this in here, okay, and let me get this in here, and see, I even cut that down. Oh, yeah. I even cut that down, but that goes in much nicer. Okay, so that's my insert, and that's exactly what it will look like. Okay, now the reason why I put my title specifically here on the left and in this area is because when this is here, you see the title, and then when you flip my insert, the title is still here. Okay, right there. You probably didn't see that. So even when I flip my insert, my title is still here, and then you'll notice I put my embellishment cluster in a certain place, because with my insert, there's my title, there's my embellishment cluster. But if I flip my insert, guess what happens? There's my title, and there's my embellishment cluster. So no matter which way you're flipping this insert, you still get the benefit of the title and the embellishment cluster. And I did that on purpose. And if I know I'm going to use an insert, I will purposely put my title in an area that no matter where the insert is flipped, you're going to see that title, and no matter which way the insert is flipped, you're going to see this embellishment cluster, as well as the journaling. So that's why I purposely did those three in a visual triangle. Very, very fun to do. Okay, so I think that was the only thing I wanted to show, other than one more thing. This is clearly a baseball spread, you know, baseball layout, but I want to point out how many items are actually themed to do this baseball spread, and also to show that I used a kit that I didn't even know I was going to do this, and how it all works out. Because if you look on here, there is not one embellishment on here that is baseball themed, not a single one. Now if you look at my insert, there is one little sticker here that is a baseball. That's it. And then here on the right, there is a actual baseball, and then it says batter up. So of this 2-page spread and this insert, I have 3 little embellishments that has to do with baseball. The paper is not themed, my title is not themed, my flare is not themed. Let's see, my other stickers are not themed. I went with stars, and you can see I have star here, stars there, stars there, stars there. Okay, so those stars, that geometric shape, created the mood and feel of a baseball game, and I didn't have it, just simply by color, and that geometric shape of the star. So if you're working on a kit and you don't have themed embellishments, don't worry about it. Just go with a geometric shape that makes you feel what you're doing in that theme. For Disney, you know, it's stars. For baseball, it's stars. Stars works on just about every page. Yes, or circles. Circles is a good shape to use on about every layout. So that is how that came together. I want to thank Deborah for the challenge. I hope that was something to see, Deborah, but that is how that 2-page spread went with the insert. And if I flip that again, see right there is 4 4x6 photos and 2 wallets, and I flip that, and right there is 4 4x6 photos and 2 wallets. And no matter which way this insert's flapping in the wind, you're going to see the title, this embellishment cluster, and my journaling. So yes, there's my visual triangle with those 3 elements. Isn't that fun? So that's another way to do an insert. Put your title and a main embellishment cluster and your journaling in such a way that it is shown on both sides, no matter which way you're looking at that insert. And then also too, you'll notice that my title and my embellishment cluster and my journaling block all make a statement. There's nothing wimpy about them. They're pretty big and they make an impact and they make a statement. So I don't need a lot of other little things. So that definitely cuts down on the amount of supplies you need to do something of this size. Absolutely. So I hope that was a little bit of fun to see. I hope you all had fun going to the ball game. Yes. And so I showed this to my hubby and he goes, boy, he says, I remember going to that game. Yeah. So guess what? We're going to a ball game. Yes, we're going to a ball game very soon. So hopefully I can scrapbook another going to a ball game. Our little one won't be with us, but we're still going to go to a ball game. Absolutely. So that's all I have for today. Come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to do or where we're going to go. Okay, bye.